The Great Galactic Council gathered inside a massive chamber that floated in the heart of neutral space. Leaders, scientists, and envoys from hundreds of advanced civilizations sat in shining seats of metal and crystal. It was here that new species were judged, measured, and accepted or laughed out of existence. That day, the newcomers were humans. The chamber filled with low murmurs when the human delegation entered. They were not tall giants, nor did they wear glowing armor. They were simple, soft-skinned bips wrapped in plain clothing. Compared to reptilian warlords, insectoid hive queens, or shining energy beings, they looked weak. "They look so fragile," whispered a scaled ambassador. "Primitive," another hissed. "Their ships crawl slower than light. Why are they here?" The humans carried no weapons, no grand machines. Instead, they brought only a collection of sealed containers, clear boxes filled with dirt, stones, water, and green things. When the lead human ambassador, a woman named Dr. Illyra, stood at the center platform, the laughter began. "Council of the Stars," she said calmly, her voice steady, "we present to you not weapons, not treasures, but life itself. Samples from our world Earth." The alien delegates leaned forward. They expected rare minerals, advanced technology, or at least something shiny. Instead, they saw plants. Small seeds. A little glass tank with swimming fish. A jar of black soil. Laughter erupted through the chamber. "Dirt," a winged alien cackled. "Are they farmers come to join a council of empires?" sneered another. "Look, worms. They brought worms." Some aliens pounded their claws on the tables in amusement. The sound of mockery echoed across the hall. But the humans did not flinch. Dr. Illyra only smiled slightly. She placed one small seat on the council's testing platform, under the glass dome where samples were usually scanned. "This," she said softly, "is called wheat. One of billions of species of life that share our world." The council technicians activated the scanners. At first, nothing unusual appeared. The seed was organic, fragile, easy to burn. But then, under controlled light and nutrient mist, something happened. Before the eyes of the assembly, the seed split open. A green shoot burst upward, trembling, growing faster than the scanning machines could predict. Within moments, tiny leaves spread. Its roots pierced deep into the artificial soil of the testing platform. The dome fogged with condensation as the plant drank greedily. In 1 hour, the sprout was taller than the glass. In 3 hours, it pressed hard against the ceiling of the chamber, its roots cracking the reinforced ground beneath. Security guards rushed to contain it, slicing it back with plasma tools. But the plant did not die. It spread faster. Its fibers resisted the burns. By the end of the demonstration, the council's machines were forced to flush the chamber with sterilizing gas just to halt the growth. Silence fell. For the first time, no one laughed. The scaled ambassador, the one who had mocked them first, leaned forward with unease in his voice. "What kind of soil produces such a thing?" Dr. Illyra's calm gaze swept across the council. "Our soil," she answered. "Our world is alive in every breath, every stone, every drop of water. You mocked us for bringing dirt. But our dirt grows." Whispers spread across the chamber. Many delegates felt a crawling unease in their spines. They came expecting primitive curiosities, but what they saw was raw power hidden in simplicity. Still, some voices refused to admit fear. "A trick," spat a crystalline envoy. "Engineered nonsense. No natural seed grows like that." Indeed, another agreed, though its mandibles clicked nervously. This is staged. Illyra did not argue. She simply gestured to the other containers. Clear tanks filled with swimming fish that flickered with quicksilver motion. Soil jars where hidden insects crawled and burrowed. A small cage where ants, no larger than a fingernail, worked together to move grains of sand 10 times their size. "You have seen our seed," she said softly. "Do you wish to see what else Earth carries?" The council leader, an ancient being of light and energy, lifted a trembling hand. "This demonstration is concluded," it declared. "The samples will be taken for further study." The humans nodded. They gathered their remaining containers and stepped back, calm and silent, as security drones carefully lifted the experimental plant remains. But as the human delegation exited, murmurs broke out again. This time, the laughter was quieter. Nervous. Uncertain. In the corridors, alien scientists whispered to each other, "What kind of planet grows life like that?" Others muttered, "If their plants are this aggressive, what of their animals?" The seed had spoken. And though the humans said little, every delegate carried a shadow of unease in their hearts. They had mocked Earth. But the first whisper of truth had already begun to grow inside the galaxy like a seed planted in fear. And soon, the whole galaxy would see. The laboratories of the Great Galactic Council were some of the most advanced in the known universe. Here, entire worlds had been dissected and analyzed. Here, viruses had been tamed and stars had been measured. No life form had ever surprised them for long. That was why the alien scientists laughed when the samples of Earth arrived for testing. Boxes of soil, jars of water, tanks of small creatures, all were placed inside sterile chambers. The scientists thought it would be routine work. They whispered among themselves as they prepared the experiments. "Pathetic," muttered a four-eyed biologist. "They bring mud and bugs, and call it a gift," hissed another. "Perhaps they hope we will adopt them as a garden species." The humans were not present. Only their samples. The first test was simple: expose Earth's bacteria to Council standard sterilizing rays. Every world's microbes broke apart under that light. But Earth's samples did not. Instead, the human bacteria shimmered, shifted, and then adapted. Within minutes, they formed protective shells. Within hours, they began consuming the sterilizing particles themselves, as though the deadly rays were nothing more than food. The scientists fell silent. One adjusted the scanners again, convinced of an error. But the result remained: Earth's smallest life resisted destruction. "This is impossible," one whispered. "They evolved too quickly." The second test was harsher. Alien viruses were released into the Earth samples. Normally, viruses tore through new organisms in seconds. But this time, the viruses failed. They entered Earth's bacteria and were shredded apart, broken down into harmless pieces. Some of the viruses even changed, copying fragments of Earth's DNA and becoming something new. By the end of the cycle, the viruses were extinct, replaced by bacteria that had doubled their numbers. A deep unease spread among the scientists. One, a creature covered in scales, backed away from the chamber. "They do not die," it muttered. "They fight." Still, curiosity was stronger than fear. The next experiment focused on small Earth creatures. A sealed container held a colony of ants, tiny insects that marched endlessly, carrying grains of soil, building tunnels even in their captivity. "They are nothing," said one researcher. "Look, fragile legs, no armor, no weapons." But when a council cleaning drone malfunctioned and bumped against the container, a crack appeared. A handful of ants slipped free. At first, no one noticed. Then, alarms began to sound. The ants swarmed into the drone, vanishing into its machinery. Within minutes, sparks flew from its circuits. The machine twisted, shorted out, and collapsed in smoke. The ants crawled free unharmed. The scientists stared in disbelief. Did those creatures destroy a drone? One asked, voice shaking. They chewed through alloy, another whispered. Alloy meant to resist acid. Panic spread. Security teams rushed in to contain the insects. They sealed them in plasma fields, burned the remains of the drone, and sterilized the chamber 3 times. Yet unease lingered in the air. If something so small could do this, what about the larger things on Earth? The scientists carried their findings to the council chamber. They expected more laughter. But when the reports were read aloud, the delegates shifted nervously in their seats. Some clutched their robes tighter, some tapped their claws against the floor in thought. Finally, one of the elder delegates, an ancient crystalline being, turned to the humans. Your microbes resist sterilization. Your insects destroy machines. Explain. Dr. Illyra, the human ambassador, rose slowly. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. You wished to know what Earth is, she said. Now you are beginning to see. Our world is old. Very old. It has fought wars within itself for billions of years. Every drop of water, every grain of soil, is alive with that history. We did not bring you weapons. We brought you truth. The hall was silent. Every delegate leaned forward to hear the words. One of the scaled ambassadors hissed. Then you mean to threaten us? You show us beasts and germs and call it truth. Illyra shook her head. We do not threaten. We do not need to. You asked for what we are. This is Earth. Even our smallest creatures fight with a strength you cannot measure. The scaled ambassador tried to sneer, but its voice trembled. They are only ants. Only bacteria. The human's eyes gleamed with something cold and certain. Only ants, she repeated softly. Only bacteria. But tell me what happens when you step on soil that refuses to die? What happens when you meet the larger children of our world? The chamber grew still. Many alien leaders felt a crawling sensation along their skin, as though tiny legs were marching across them. For the first time, they understood, Earth's living world was not weak. It was a silent army, waiting. And this was only the beginning. The council laboratories were not finished. The scientists were too curious to stop. The seed had grown too fast, the bacteria had resisted destruction, and the ants had chewed through machines. But curiosity was stronger than fear. They wanted to see more. In the deepest research wing, a sealed tank waited. Inside, dozens of Earth creatures crawled and hid. There were spiders, beetles, fungi sealed in soil, and other small predators collected from the human world. To the scientists, they looked pathetic. These, scoffed one of the insectoid researchers. Tiny crawlers. Harmless. Another waved a claw. Primitive vermin. Let us see what they can do. Against the advice of the council's safety officers, the tank was opened under controlled conditions. At first, nothing happened. The spiders clung to the corners, unmoving. The beetles froze, playing dead. Even the fungi looked like harmless white threads in the soil. The scientists laughed. See? These are toys. Decorations from their world. Perhaps they should have brought us something bigger. But when the lights dimmed and the chamber grew warm, the truth began to unfold. The fungi spread first. White thread slithered outward, invisible at first, then thicker, faster. They wrapped around wires, covering the floor, creeping toward machines. Filters hummed to sterilize the air, but within minutes, the spores had already clogged them. Then the spiders moved. Silent, careful, they spread silk across the corners of the chamber. At first, it was just threads. Then, entire walls were hidden behind shimmering webs. And then came the beetles. They dug through the soil, vanishing into the cracks of the chamber. When technicians sent drones inside to watch, the beetles attacked in swarms, chewing at wires, swarming over sensors, tearing apart cameras with tiny but unstoppable jaws. One technician hissed, panic in his voice. "Shut it down. Seal the chamber." Plasma barriers flickered on, but it was too late. The webs had spread into vents. The spores had clogged the systems. The beetles had burrowed into the walls. The laboratory lights began to flicker. The scientists watched in horror. Their most secure containment chamber, designed to hold the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy, was being consumed by organisms no bigger than a hand. This cannot be real," whispered one. "They are only insects, only fungi." But the truth was clear. These were predators. Not large, not mighty, but countless, relentless, and perfectly adapted to survive. Security forces arrived, armed with flamethrowers and plasma cutters. They burned the webs, blasted the fungi, and tore open walls to kill the beetles. Hours passed before the chamber was declared clean. But the scientists knew the truth. No chamber was ever truly clean. Spores were already loose in the vents. A few spiders were missing. And beetles had vanished into cracks no one could reach. That night, one of the research stations lost power. Entire corridors went dark. When repair crews entered, they found webs draped across the ceilings, thick and sticky. Machinery lay in ruins, chewed apart. In the silence, they heard skittering legs, unseen in the dark. The council tried to contain the news, but rumors spread. Delegates whispered about alien machines being eaten by earth vermin. Soldiers spoke of strange webs found in their boots after leaving the labs. Some claimed they had seen shadows moving even when nothing was there. In the next council meeting, the atmosphere was tense. The crystalline envoy, voice sharp, demanded answers from the humans. "What did you bring here? Weapons? Monsters? Do you mean to unleash these horrors upon the galaxy?" Dr. Illyra stood again, her expression calm, almost gentle. "No," she said. "We brought you neighbors. Every creature you saw lives beside us. We share our world with them. They hunt us. We hunt them. It is balance. It is life." A scaled ambassador slammed his claws on the table. "Life? You call those things life? They are abominations." Illyra's gaze hardened. "You fear them because they survive what you cannot. But they are only the small ones. Do you wish to see the larger predators of Earth?" The chamber fell silent. The delegates glanced at each other, unease flickering in their eyes. The thought was terrifying. If spiders and beetles could bring down machines, if fungi could choke entire systems, then what were the larger predators of Earth capable of? Wolves, lions, crocodiles, beasts the size of their soldiers, all forged by endless struggle. The question hung in the chamber like a shadow. If these were the smallest predators of Earth, What would happen when the galaxy met the giants? The council chamber was no longer filled with laughter. The rumors of escaped insects, the clogged vents, and the strange webs whispered fear into every delegate's mind. Many wondered if their research stations were already infected by Earth's vermin. Still, the leaders demanded clarity. They wanted to know the truth. Dr. Illyra, the human ambassador, stood once more in the center. She carried no samples this time, only a data crystal. "We have shown you fragments of Earth," she said softly. "But you still do not understand. You believe our world is only dirt and bugs. So now, we will show you more." The lights dimmed. The chamber's central holodisplay flickered to life. At first, the aliens saw a wide plain of grass. Strange four-legged creatures ran across it in packs. They moved with grace, powerful muscles rippling beneath their fur. Then, one broke away, faster than the rest. The view zoomed closer, sharp teeth glinting, eyes fixed on prey. Wolves hunting as one. The delegates leaned forward, uneasy. The wolves circled a huge animal many times larger than them. It fought, kicking and bellowing, but the pack worked together, cutting it down piece by piece until it collapsed. The predators feasted. "These," Illyra explained, "are wolves. They are not the largest predators. But they understand teamwork. They do not stop until the prey falls." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Teamwork. Relentless pursuit. Some delegates glanced nervously at the humans themselves, suddenly aware of the resemblance. The hollow shifted again. Now it showed a golden plain under a burning sun. Tall grass swayed, hiding shadows within. A herd of animals grazed peacefully until the grass erupted. A lioness leapt, claws flashing. More lions followed, their roars shaking the air. Together, they dragged down a massive beast twice their size. The herd scattered in terror. A winged delegate hissed, shivering. "Monsters." Illyra's voice remained calm. "Not monsters. Hunters. Balance. For every predator, there is prey. For every life, a struggle. This is Earth's truth." The hollow changed again. Now, it showed the deep ocean. Darkness. Silence. Then, a massive shadow glided past, larger than any spaceship. A whale sang a sound so deep it shook the chamber itself. Delegates gasped. "That thing, it's alive?" one asked, voice trembling. "Yes," said Illyra. "A whale. Gentle, intelligent. It can sing across oceans. It remembers for centuries." Before awe could settle, the scene changed again. From the darkness of the same ocean, a new shape emerged. Long teeth, eyes black and cold. A great white shark. It struck with lightning speed, tearing into flesh. The chamber filled with uneasy whispers. Some delegates recoiled from the images. "Enough," a crystalline envoy snapped. "You bring us nightmares. What is your purpose? To frighten us with beasts?" Illyra did not raise her voice. She simply looked across the hall, her expression firm. "You call them beasts. We call them life. These creatures do not obey us. They do not serve us. We live among them. We survive among them. Do you understand what that means?" Silence. Every delegate waited. "It means," Illyra continued, "that humanity is forged by the same struggle. Our ancestors were prey. They learned to fight. To think. To endure. You mocked us for bringing soil and worms. But our soil grows armies. Our smallest creatures bring machines to ruin. And our predators, she gestured toward the frozen image of a lion mid-leap. Our predators teach us never to bow. Her words struck like thunder. One of the scaled warlords slammed a claw on the table, his voice sharp with anger. You brought monsters into our halls. Illyra's reply was colder than ice. No. We brought truth. Monsters are only born when you step on earth without respect. The chamber fell into silence. Delegates shifted uneasily, claws tapping, wings folding, crystals humming nervously. They realized the meaning. Earth was not simply a world. It was a crucible, a place where every living thing, big or small, fought to survive. And if humans had survived such a world, what chance did the galaxy have against them? The hollow shut off. Darkness lingered for a moment before the chamber lights returned. No one laughed anymore. No one mocked. Instead, they stared at the humans with a new emotion. Not amusement. Not contempt. But fear. And in that silence, a single thought grew inside every delegate's mind. If this is what Earth shows us willingly, what truths are they still hiding? Rumors spread faster than light. The council tried to keep Earth samples locked away, but whispers could not be silenced. In the corridors of starships, in the markets of distant colonies, the same story grew. The humans brought soil that eats machines. Their insects chew through alloy. Their plants break walls. Their predators hunt like armies. At first, many laughed. But then the accidents began. One research moon reported that its filters had failed, choked with strange white threads. Entire ventilation systems collapsed, wrapped in webs that no fire could fully burn. On another world, soldiers discovered small beetles in their boots. Within days, the creatures had multiplied, chewing through storage crates and even damaging weapons. A mining station in the outer rim fell completely dark. Rescue ships found it overrun with webs, nests, and strange spores. The survivors whispered of shadows moving in the halls, of tiny creatures swarming from the cracks, unstoppable and endless. The council panicked. Emergency orders were sent. All Earth samples were to be destroyed. But destruction was impossible. The spores spread too fast, the insects too clever, the fungi too stubborn. The galaxy, for the first time in centuries, felt fear. In the next grand meeting, every seat was filled. The delegates looked tired, shaken, some even desperate. The crystalline envoy slammed its shining hands against the table. You humans have unleashed chaos upon us, it shouted. You brought death in the form of dirt and vermin. Dr. Illyra rose slowly. She looked calm, though her eyes carried something heavier. No, she said softly. We warned you. We told you these were not weapons. They are only life. This is Earth. This is our world. A scaled warlord hissed, claws trembling. If your world is this dangerous, then how do you survive it? For a moment, the human ambassador was silent. Then she spoke. Because we had no choice. We grew strong, or we died. We learned to fight not only each other, but the world itself. Every storm, every predator, every sickness, we endured them all. You asked who we are. We are survivors of a living battlefield. The chamber grew colder. Delegates shifted in unease, their eyes avoiding hers. The insectoid queen finally broke the silence. Her voice was high and sharp. Your world is a weapon. Illyra shook her head. No, a weapon is built, wielded, and broken. Earth is not a weapon. Earth is alive. It grows, whether you fear it or not. And now, her voice lowered. It has spoken for itself. The words echoed like thunder. A messenger drone burst into the chamber, interrupting the session. Its voice was urgent, crackling with static. Breaking report. 2 more colonies compromised by Earth spores. Local ecosystems collapsing. Machines failing. Evacuations underway. Panic swept through the delegates. Some shouted for war against humanity. Others demanded quarantine. A few whispered the most dangerous thought of all. What if Earth itself ever left its cradle? But the humans stood silent. They did not raise weapons. They did not threaten. They simply waited. At last, the council leader, the ancient being of light, turned toward them. Its voice was heavy with fear. Tell us, humans, is there any way to stop this? Dr. Illyra's gaze was steady. There is no stopping life. You cannot kill the soil. You cannot silence the ocean. You cannot chain the sky. You asked for proof of what Earth is. And now, you have it. Silence fell. Every delegate felt it, the truth pressing against them like a storm. Earth was not just another world. It was not a weak, primitive planet to be mocked. It was a living force, a relentless tide, a silent giant. The laughter that once filled the council chamber was gone. No one dared mock the humans anymore. Dr. Illyra gathered her data crystal and turned to leave. At the doorway, she paused. Her final words carried like a shadow across the hall. You laughed at Earth. But Earth never needed to laugh back. It only grows. And when it grows, nothing in the stars can stop it. The chamber stayed quiet long after the humans had gone. And in that quiet, the galaxy finally understood. Earth had not brought weapons. Earth had brought itself. And that was more terrifying than any weapon ever built.